Hi there, I'm Rachel and I'm an MS reporter. I've had MS for the past 9 years. I'm here at the Blizard Institute in East London and I'm just about to go on and chat with Professor Klaus Schmierer about ethnicity in MS. Let's go inside and find out what he has to say. First of all, thanks a lot for having us here today. And can you tell us a little bit about your research into ethnicity and MS in this area, the East End of London?
Yes, so we undertook a study looking at the prevalence, that means how common MS is among our local population. So we looked at East London. That covered for us a relatively small area in terms of area, but in terms of population is over 900,000 people that live in Hackney, city in Hackney, Newham and Tower Hamlets, so these three boroughs. And what we looked at then is kind of the GP recorded diagnoses of multiple sclerosis, and then looked at where these people come from with the diagnosis of MS. And what we found is that the overall prevalence, so the likelihood of essentially meeting somebody with MS, is about the same as we would expect it across the UK. But what was interesting is that when we looked at people with black skin color and Asians, that their likelihood of having MS is far higher than in their territorial ancestry.
Were these results surprising when you first started investigating them and what you came out with?
I think we were quite open-minded altogether. We had these kind of hints from other studies that the prejudice, as it were, that MS is very much a white disease is probably not true. So it was perhaps not entirely surprising, but I think the magnitude was was surprising. I mean, you take the country of the highest known prevalence, which is in sub-Saharan Africa, Sudan. I think it's about 0.24 there, and it's over 3 times in the prevalence here.
Would you say then that going forward, scientists should be looking at vitamin D levels specifically tailored for those people with white skin versus black skin versus coming from, say, South Asia?
I think there's definitely a need to explore this further. This is, I think, largely really one, but albeit a large study, but I think it's fair to say it'd be useful to confirm this in other studies. And then to look further into differences in other factors that can contribute to the risk overall of having MS. Obviously, sunlight exposure and vitamin D may be relevant, but it's very likely or very unlikely the complete explanation for the condition. So genetic background, infection, certain habits, smoking, BMI or weight, all of these factors probably play a role. I mean, the most important genetic factor we're all aware of is being a woman, right? So you're 2 to 3 times, or even sometimes more than that, more likely than a man to develop MS.
So are you saying that, does it seem from your findings that genetics has less of a role to play in developing MS than, say, environmental?
I think if you're looking at really the Mendelian genetics, so really the makeup, how your DNA is kind of made from birth, it looks as if there is a significant element of modification that is possible of the risk. I don't think there's any other way to explain that within 2 or 3 generations, and that may be one weakness of our study, that we couldn't exactly pin down when people actually moved across.
Sure.
So this is also a matter of further research. But that by any standards, within such a short time scale in genetic terms, that the risk would be modulated or modified by genetic changes. So clearly, I think that points towards modifiable risk factors, and that is obviously exciting because we can do something about it. We can do very little about our makeup, but about that, there's far more to explore and hopefully to ultimately get not only better treatment for MS, but perhaps lower or reduce the number of people getting it.